When it comes to resources to support HR professionals with cybersecurity workforce hiring and management, the Workforce Framework for Cybersecurity, or NICE framework, is at the top of the list. I'm here with Karen Wetzel, lead of the NICE framework at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, under the United States Department of Commerce. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here.
To get us started, Karen, can you give us a high-level introduction to what the NICE framework is?
Happy to. The NICE framework provides a common language to clearly share about cybersecurity work and the knowledge and skills required to complete that work. It does this through a modular building blocks approach based on task, knowledge, and skill, or TKS statements, that in turn define work roles and competency areas for use in career discovery, education and training, workforce planning and assessment, hiring, and career development. The NICE framework is made up of NIST Special Publication 800-181, the Workforce Framework for Cybersecurity, NIST Interagency Internal Report 8355, the NICE Framework Competency Areas, and the NICE Framework Components. These components are what most people think of when they think of the NICE framework, and they include 7 work role categories, 52 work roles, 11 competency areas, and over 2,000 task, knowledge, and skill statements.
It sounds comprehensive. Could you tell us more about what you mean by cybersecurity workforce?
The framework defines the cybersecurity workforce as individuals whose primary focus is on cybersecurity, as well as those in the workforce who need specific cybersecurity-related knowledge and skills to perform their work in a way that enables organizations to properly manage cybersecurity-related risks to the enterprise. This definition recognizes that cybersecurity is an interdisciplinary field that applies across an organization, and that many people in an organization may have cybersecurity responsibilities, from leadership to support roles, and in areas such as governance, system design, operations, as well as protection and defense. It also uses the term learner to describe students, job seekers, and current employees, in recognition of the importance of continuous learning in cybersecurity.
With so much of work today having some digital aspects, it's no wonder that cybersecurity is a responsibility across an organization in many different job types. Can you tell us a bit more about who the NICE framework is for?
The NICE framework is used by employers, educators, and service and tool providers in both public and private sectors and across industries. It can be used by small and large organizations and serves as an interoperable model for other workforce frameworks, such as privacy and AI. It is used to help track workforce hiring trends, to connect learners with relevant training opportunities, and is used internationally. The ultimate goal is to address the cybersecurity workforce gap and ensure that the nation has a diverse, prepared workforce ready to face the challenges of today and prepare for the future.
Okay, let's dive into a bit more detail now. You mentioned the NICE framework components earlier. Could you share a bit more about these?
Of course. As I mentioned earlier, the NICE framework components are what most people think of when they think of the NICE framework. We released an updated component spreadsheet in March 2024 that includes 7 work role categories, 52 work roles, 11 competency areas, and over 2,000 task, knowledge, or skill statements. These TKS statements are the foundation of the NICE framework, what we often refer to as the building blocks, and are what make up the work roles and competency areas. Task statements describe the work to be done, while knowledge and skill statements define what someone needs to know or be able to do in order to complete that work.
That's helpful, Karen. So the NICE framework describes the work as well as the knowledge and skills that people need.
That's right.
Great. So then what are work roles?
Work roles are groupings of work that an individual or team is responsible or accountable for. A work role isn't the same thing as a job. A single position might be responsible for a single role or for multiple roles. For example, someone who is a threat hunter might include the NICE framework work roles insider threat analysis, and vulnerability analysis in their job description. The NICE framework currently has 52 work roles, and new work roles are being developed. The work roles are organized into 7 categories. The first 4 are oversight and governance. This category includes 16 roles focusing on leadership, management, direction, and advocacy, including, for example, cybersecurity policy and planning, secure project management, and security control assessment. The second category is design and development. This category comprises 8 roles around research, design, development, and testing, including, for example, cybersecurity architecture and secure software development. The implementation and operation category has 7 rules focusing on implementation, administration, configuration, operation, and maintenance. For example, you'll find data analysis, network operations, and technical support in this category. The protection and defense category is what most people think of when they think of cybersecurity. The 7 rules in this category protect against, identify, and analyze risks to technology systems or networks, as well as respond to events or crimes. It includes our newest role, insider threat analysis, as well as incident response, digital forensics, and others. These first 4 categories include roles that are used in both public and private sectors. The remaining 3 categories represent government-specific roles. These are investigation, which includes roles that focus on national cybersecurity and cybercrime investigations; cyberspace intelligence, focusing on intelligence activities and covert action; and cyberspace effects, which are specific to military activities.
That gives me a better idea of the different kinds of areas of cybersecurity responsibility that roles represent. So, then what are the NICE framework competency areas?
Competency areas extend the NICE framework further. They are clusters of related knowledge and skill statements that correlate with one's capability to perform tasks in a particular domain. Competency areas can help learners discover areas of interest, inform career planning and development, identify gaps for knowledge and skills development, and provide a means of assessing or demonstrating a learner's capabilities in the domain. They were added to the NICE framework in 2020, and the first 11 competency areas were added to the updated version of components released in March 2024. They may be additive to one or more work roles, be used independently of work roles, could represent domains that span multiple work roles, or represent emerging domains that do not yet have established work roles. For example, an employer may have a job that includes the network operations work role and also require the cloud security competency area, which describes a learner's capabilities to protect cloud data, applications, and infrastructure from internal and external threats.
Now that I understand better what the NICE framework is, I wonder if we can go back to how it is used. Before, you mentioned that the NICE framework is used by many stakeholders. Can you share more about them and how it's being applied?
Absolutely. The NICE framework is used by government, industry, and academia. Employers in both the public and private sectors and across industries use it to help them broaden the hiring pipeline and increase diversity in the cybersecurity workforce, create job descriptions and assess candidates' skills, track and plan workforce capabilities, and develop employees through role-based training. By describing cybersecurity work using a common language, the NICE framework supports an integrated and coordinated ecosystem of all these stakeholders. What that means is that someone interested in, for instance, incident response could look at the NICE framework incident response work role to learn about the type of work someone in that role would be responsible for, as well as what knowledge and skills they would need to complete that work. An educator could use that role to develop courses and assess the learning of students, including hands-on performance-based assessments based on the defined tasks for that role. Employers can develop position descriptions and requirements based on the role, assess candidates, and track organizational responsibilities based on that same information. And service providers might use it to help match candidates to positions or relevant training, provide trend data about hiring for that role, develop career pathway tools, and more. It can also be used in apprenticeship programs, for upskilling, for role-based training, hands-on competitions, and more.
Okay, so when it comes to HR professionals in particular, how can the NICE framework help them?
NICE recently published an employer's guide to writing effective cybersecurity job descriptions. This guide describes the hiring ecosystem, essentially the people, processes, and technologies involved in hiring. And I would add to that resources and include the NICE framework. By describing cybersecurity work and the individual's capabilities, it serves as a starting place for developing job descriptions that are right-sized, meet organizational goals, support future planning, and serve as a roadmap for assessing candidates, as well as supporting career pathways. Instead of requiring HR professionals to have cybersecurity expertise, the NICE framework serves as a shortcut to clearly and accurately describe position responsibilities. And tools that use the NICE framework can be used by human resources staff to compare cybersecurity position qualifications, regional demand, salary, titles, and more.
Karen, this is great information. Where can someone go to get support on using the NICE framework?
The NICE Framework Resource Center has links to the current NICE framework content, as well as links to tools, a guide on getting started, FAQs, example implementations, resources by audience, and more. You can also find there the NICE Framework Users Group, which is a community of interest for people interested in implementing and improving the NICE Framework through community collaboration and knowledge sharing. It's a great place to ask questions, make suggestions, and share leading practices. We can also be contacted directly via email at niceframework@nist.gov. We would love to hear from folks about their use of the NICE Framework, including what has worked and what challenges they've faced. That information informs our continuous development of the framework as we create new content, as well as develop additional guidance on how to use the framework.
Thanks so much for your time today, Karen.
Thank you, Kevin.